All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Brock Purdy continues to ascend as a franchise quarterback. We'll discuss him coming up next. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out, so get there early. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. And this video is also brought to you by our good friends at Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, right along the Monterey Peninsula. Go say hi to my good friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, 49ers got a nice win on Sunday over the Patriots, and now they're getting ready to take on the Arizona Cardinals in another divisional battle. And Brock Purdy just continues to play incredible football. He had this week the greatest air yard performance of his career. He went up top. I mean, I thought the big momentum shift in this game was when Guerrero fumbled, and then the Patriots went down and scored a touchdown. And then first play, next drive, Brock Purdy goes up top for 50 to Debo. And he just didn't stop going up top the rest of the quarter. He went up top to Conley. They missed connection. He went up top to JJ. They did hit that one. I mean, he went up top to Ayuk. I mean, they were going down the field in this game. And Brock Purdy is continuing to evolve into the franchise quarterback that that the Niners obviously believe he can be, that he believes he can be. And I think there's an awful lot of people out there that have doubted that he'd ever get to this point. Brock is just playing at a really, really high level. And to me, you're seeing the best football of his career. He's mobile. He can get away. He's got a 1-5-4 10-yard split, so he can run away from defensive ends. He's really, really mobile, but he processes what he sees. He'll hang in against the rush. He can move around and reset his platform and get another launch point on the same play. He's starting to remind me in a lot of ways of Russell Wilson at Russell Wilson's apex, where Wilson just was so resourceful and his deep ball was so accurate. And then his ability to move was so incredible that you just couldn't sack the guy on a regular basis. So if you look at some of the numbers and then you listen to some of the people who really are in the know talking about Brock Purdy, it's really clear that Brock is getting to a totally different level than the level that he was at even a year ago when he led the 49ers to the Super Bowl. Purdy thus far has averaged a career high 14.5 air yards per attempt. That's the second highest of any quarterback in a game this year, and it's the highest of Purdy's career. So, he's throwing the ball down the field. I mean, the whole talk of, he's a dink and dunk guy, come on. I mean, that has been, debunked so long ago, but these stats just fly right in the face of that idiocy. Since the start of this 23 season, so this would be the start of last season, Brock Purdy and Patrick Mahomes have identical 14-6 records. These are regular season records. But then when you look a little closer and compare, and you say, wow, we're now comparing Brock Purdy to Mahomes. Yeah, that's how good Brock Purdy's been. In fact, if you want to go back to the start of the 2023 season, Brock Purdy has actually more passing yards than Mahomes. He has a better touchdown to interception ratio than Mahomes, with more touchdowns and fewer interceptions. He's got a better passer rating than Mahomes, and he's got a better yards per attempt than Mahomes. I mean, it really is pretty incredible when you think about it. Let's hear Richard Sherman. Sherman, feels that Purdy is elite. I love the way Sherm kind of goes through it piece by piece, and he kind of makes fun of the whole, the people that just take all day and every day to come up with creative ways to say that Brock's not the guy. And here's Richard Sherman saying, you know what? Those guys don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Every time there's something new that they say about him. Every week it's something new. Well, he played great, but they lost. Or he just threw it to Debo and Ayuk, and then they had so much yak. But then he's second in the league in yards and has the least amount of yak in the league. And they're like, well, it's because Kyle Shanahan. It's like, well, I'm going to let you know something. When you got to work this hard to prove a point about a player, like with Brock Purdy, I could just say, hey, he's number one in just about every measurable stat. I don't really have to work that hard. I can just go to stats, close my eyes, pick one, he's probably near the top. And there's other quarterbacks, you got to sit there and say, he's a generational talent. And it's because of the offense. It's because the coach. It's because he doesn't have this. It's because somebody was injured. It's because over here. Well, he was born on the 23rd of January and not the 24th. If he was born on the 24th, he would have. I get it. I get it. Brock Purdy's elite.
Well, that's well said by Richard Sherman. Let's look at a couple of the stats, though, that I think that are out right now that really paint the picture. Okay, so Brock Purdy right now is second in yards passing to Geno Smith. Geno's had an incredible start. Brock's thrown for 1,130 yards in the first 4 games. That's second in the league. Where does he sit in quarterback rating? He's 7th overall in quarterback rating. Where does he sit in average intended air yards? He's 2nd in the league in average intended air yards. But the 2 stats, and really there's 3 that I think really paint the picture on Brock Purdy, is that his completion percentage. And to me, I like to look, especially in the first part of the year when, teams, you're only played 4 or 5 games and not everybody's played the same teams. And some teams have played playoff teams and some teams have played the worst teams in all of football. So I like to look at not just completion percentage, but completion percentage over expectation. To me, that's the truer completion percentage stat in the first half of the year. Doesn't matter. Brock Purdy's first in completion percentage over expectation. Okay, well, completion percentage in and of itself is still kind of not the kind of stat that you want to cite in a vacuum, right? Does that mean, some offensive coordinators, have a scheme where the quarterback is always, doing shovel passes and little screen passes and everything's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and they may complete 75% of their passes, maybe more, maybe 80% of their passes. So completion percentage alone can be a little bit deceiving. So as I said, Brock's first in completion percentage over expectation. But he's also first in yards per attempt. And to me, when you have that combo, you're first in the NFL in completion percentage over expectation, and you're first in the NFL in yards per attempt. That means you're driving the ball down the field. That means you're not just shovel passing it to Debo. You're not just hitching it to Ayuk standing 15 feet away on the line of scrimmage. He's driving the ball down the field, and this Patriots game was a classic example. So those 2 stats together really paint the picture that Brock Purdy is, and he is, as Richard Sherman said, elite. First in completion percentage over expectation. First in yards per attempt. But where it really goes over the top, he also has the 5th most pressure. He's facing the 5th most pressure of any quarterback in the NFL. So Brock is number 1 in completion percentage over expectation. He's number 1 in yards per attempt, but he's doing it while operating behind a line that's not necessarily protecting him at an elite level. I mean, he's facing the 5th most pressure of any quarterback in the NFL, and he's still first in completion percentage over expectation, and he's still first in yards per attempt. So to me, when you factor in the frailty and the kind of iffy nature of his offensive line, Colton McKivitz has had a lot of problems allowing pressures to his front side. That's the face side. The front side pressure always will bother a quarterback. He's getting tons of front side pressure. He's been pressured the 5th most of any quarterback in the league, and he's still winning games, putting up great numbers, driving the ball down the field, completing the highest percentage, 2nd in total yards. I mean, the guy is playing at an incredible level. And the fact that he has outplayed Mahomes really since the start of last season should tell everybody that, hey, man, this is this is a quarterback that's quite a bit better than I even thought when I was touting him as a rookie in 2022. He's gotten to a level now where he is one of the NFL's better quarterbacks. And you don't have to, be aw shucks when you say, hey, you know what? Brock Purdy's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. The numbers support that he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And we'll see what happens this Sunday against the Cardinals. But the Niners are 2-2. They have flaws as a team, but Brock Purdy's not one of them. In fact, you could make an argument that the Niners, if they have 4 or 5 strengths on the team, that Brock Purdy and the way he's playing is clearly at the top of the list among their strengths. All right, that does it for the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.